Hello, aligned photographers. Happy Thursday. This is officially our fourth episode of the Aligned Photographers podcast. And today I just really wanted to talk about ambition and what it is like being a really ambitious mother. And sometimes the flip side of that, that's not always talked about, and just how we can manage that ambition, right? Set expectations and kind of help handle that flip side that comes with it. So, today I'm going to talk really openly about what ambition has looked like for me, dreaming big, having really big goals, and how I've navigated that since having children and raising them because it changes throughout our different seasons of life. So, getting started, the flip side of ambition, I feel like, has been a lot of pressure. And this is pressure that only I am putting on myself. And when you have really big goals and you have really big dreams and you get excited about them, and you almost get hyper focused or fixated on meeting those goals, achieving those things, it can put a lot of pressure on yourself, right? Where you kind of feel extra stress created. And I heard about this thing a long time ago, probably from my favorite podcast, Law of Attraction changed my life, called Rushing Women's Syndrome. And surely it was from a book we read at the time. But I was like, wow, that is me. Rushing women's syndrome. And that's what we don't want. Okay. We don't want to feel like we're always rushing. And there's also analogy of like the duck where this is actually back when I was a dental hygienist, our employer would be like, okay, underneath the water, the duck is like paddling so fast. And then but above the water, they seem calm, cool, collected. They're just like cruising around, right? And that is kind of what running a business and raising children at the same time is like. You're working really hard all of the time. Even if you are just doing one of those things, it is constant work, constant things to do. The running list really just never ends. And, then you go and have multiple children and you go and run multiple businesses. And there's so many facets to it that you don't think about until you keep going. And I maybe have this, I don't know if I'll call it a problem, but I maybe have this habit of one thing leading to another, right? Where it's like, oh, I start doing this and then I get excited about that and I want to do more, right? Like this podcast. I started a podcast. How do I have time for a podcast? I don't know, but I'm making time for it because I'm really excited about it and I'm passionate about it. And I love sharing my experience with other people to hopefully help them, whether it's just through relatability, knowing that you are not alone, and or hopefully sharing some really good insight and tips that will help you go about your life, your business, everything in a faster, easier, more efficient way that's aligned with the life that you're living, right? So, when it comes to ambition, I have all these dreams and goals, and I always have been this way. I've always not necessarily been a high achiever, but when I'm passionate about something, I really go for it. And I find a way to figure out how to make it happen, how to make it work. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. When I was younger, I thought I would be a stay at home mom. I originally wanted to be a dental hygienist so that if I had to work, it could just be a 1 or 2 days a week, to hopefully help support my family, really flexible schedule, super family friendly. And then, of course, I thought I had my kids and I knew I didn't want to be a dental hygienist anymore. But I thought, well, I don't want to go back to school. Like, how can I go back to school right now? I have a newborn. So instead, I started my own business. And for anyone who has officially started your own business, you will have realized that that is 1,000 times more work than going back to take some classes online, right? And pursuing a different career in that way. And so it's like, yeah, I'm going to shoot for my dreams. I'm going to shoot for the stars and I'm going to do everything I can to make that dream a reality. And then I find myself feeling caught up in the fact of like, well, am I happy now? Right? Because you can't just be happy when you meet a goal. You can't just find happiness, peace, the life that you want to live once you reach a certain point, because the truth is that you're living right now. Your life is happening right now, today, and you need to be happy and content today where you are. You can't just wait for the future. You can't just wait for a certain goal. And we think, there's oh gosh, what is this? So the book is it's not untethered. Yes, Untethered Soul. And right now his name is escaping me, the author. It might come to me later. Anyways, he also has a podcast. And if you haven't read The Untethered Soul, I highly recommend reading it. It was one of the first kind of self-development books that I came across and read. It was recommended by a therapist. And it was all kind of about recognizing your thoughts and from a subconscious point of view where you're just really the passenger and you're just watching. Like if you can get yourself to a place where you're just watching these thoughts roll in and pass through and being an observer of them rather than letting them fully consume you, you can start to recognize patterns. You can start to just notice these thoughts and things that are emotions that you're feeling, right? And recognize that finding that joy and that contentment, that peace with inside of you is something that you can find right now, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what big goal you're actively working to achieve. And that is very hard. At least for me, it is a challenge to be able to sit in that place. And I have to remind myself, I really have to remind myself. So actually, last year, I love doing vision boards every year. I love sitting down and writing out my goals for the next year and getting really clear on them, because when you're ambitious, when you have really large goals, it helps to get a very clear picture about what those are. I'm going to totally butcher the lyrics, but like Drake had a song was like ambitions are just goals with a date with a I'm butchering it. But it's like they're just goals that you have a date written on, right? This year I want to achieve these things. But then you have to come up with a plan, okay? You have to actually kind of sit down and say, what are some ways that I could achieve this? And you don't want to be set with a certain outcome of like, I have to do this to achieve this outcome. Sometimes I feel like I'm making no sense at all. So I really do hope you understand what I'm saying. But being open to how that might come to fruition, right? There's not just one way to get one outcome. There's so many different paths and ways. I'm gonna use something like physical, right? Okay, so I want to have 10 sessions. I'm not just going to book these 10 sessions by posting on Instagram every day, right? That is not the only form of marketing. That is not the only way that I'm going to fill my schedule. You want to look at all different types of marketing strategies. Want to be doing the deep work on yourself. You want to be improving your skills, your mindset, all these ways to help you reach whatever goal that it might be. I want to travel to France for the Christmas markets. Real story. We are actively planning this. And I could say, okay, I can either do this many sessions to make this amount of money, and that is how I can afford to buy my plane ticket to go to France. Or I can say, I'm going to reach out to all these hotels and accommodations and see if any of them want to partner with me. And or maybe I can do these mini sessions plus, what I mean, get creative with how you're going to achieve your goal. I learn a lot about inspired action and taking inspired action to then achieve your goals. But the whole point of this is actually to not get wrapped up in how to make it happen. Apologize if you can hear that dinging. Um, not get wrapped up in how to make it happen, but rather enjoy the journey. Like if you can look at it and you can say, here's this goal that I have planned, and I'm going to get creative and I'm going to come up with all these ideas and I'm going to work hard because you have to put in the work. And be excited about how you're going to get there, right? Like remind yourself that it's actually fun. Like that is kind of the reason why we have goals, right? And the reason why we're so ambitious is it's fun, it's exciting, and you can envision like how you're going to feel when you achieve that goal. And also like start to feel that way now, right? Like envision how you're going to feel when you achieve a certain goal and allow yourself to feel that feeling throughout the process of achieving it, right? Every day along the way, hopefully you remember to be excited. You remember that it's just fun. It's not that serious. Like it just like the better it gets, the better it gets, right? And how fun and exciting is that? And I think a lot of times, just like when I started going down the rabbit hole of how am I going to make this money to take my family to France to the Christmas markets this year? I get really into it. Like I get really tunnel vision. I get very focused on being productive, making it work. And then I honestly could be a cranky mom because I could be focusing on trying to get something done and achieve my goal. And then my kids come, and something spills and another poopy diaper, and I'm being interrupted. And I can get so impatient and I can get really frustrated. And I can also find myself with my mind wandering, even when I'm not actively working. Let's say I'm spending intentional time with my children, I want to actually also be able to be present with them, right? And not be so wrapped up in whatever goal I'm currently trying to achieve that I'm not even able to enjoy an afternoon with my children, trusting that it's going to happen. Like I really do believe that we have these goals and we have these ambitions because they're meant for us. And maybe if you believe in it, there's a future version of yourself that already has that. And that's why it's so important to you and meaningful. And you are so focused on achieving that. So if that is the case, trusting that it's going to come to fruition however it is best meant to happen, and trusting that this or something better, right? So whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve, this, that, or something better, and believing and trusting that that's going to happen, and knowing that you are taking steps, aligned action to make it happen, having fun along the process. If you're anything like me, you might literally need a daily reminder, right? Part of the reminder for me is reminding you because as I'm sharing this information with you, it helps me reconnect with that as well. Even making a note on your phone. Currently, the background on my phone is a little vision board that I created, gosh, maybe back in May. And I was actually thinking of going back onto Canva and creating a new one that's really more simplistic, but maybe has some words on it. And, maybe one of my words is going to be like words, sentences would be like, enjoy the journey, trust the process. Knowing that whatever goal I have, my ultimate goal, right? Where do I want to be? Lately, I've been talking about a 5-year plan. I've never had a 5-year plan before, but I just turned 35. My daughter is about to go into kindergarten, even though we are homeschooling. It's still like we're entering our school era. And my son is about to turn 2 years old next month. And so we're done having babies. No more babies. Oh, personally, for me, I've really been having baby fever. I told my husband yesterday, like, actually, if I could be pregnant again and give birth again, I would love that. I just actually don't want to raise another human. I really do want sleep, and we're getting closer and closer to that every day. Well, at the time being, both of my kids definitely come and sleep with me every night, and my husband ends up in the other room or on the couch. But we're getting there. We're getting closer every single day. And so I just noticed that as I set my goals, I also reevaluate them very regularly. If not monthly, then quarterly. I'm always rechecking in like, where am I now? What is it that I'm working towards? What do I want to achieve and why? The why you want to achieve it is the most important piece. And then trying to remind myself, I'm going to change the background of my phone so that every day I have a reminder that's just like, it's okay to be present. It's okay to not be rushing everywhere, right? To have that rushing women syndrome. I sure felt like that this morning trying to get my daughter out to the first day of summer camp. um, and just I'm literally staring at massive amounts of laundry that have now since made it out of the laundry basket but are on the floor. So there's just always so much to do in the current day. And I dream big. I am a big dreamer. I had a meeting with our financial advisor, and it's like, yeah, I've got some big numbers that I'm throwing out there. And I have absolutely no idea how it's all going to happen, but I believe that it will. And I believe that I can have fun in the process of getting there. If I just keep reminding myself that, like, you're okay. Like, actually, there's no tiger chasing you. You're not in fight or flight. Like, you hopefully are going to be perfectly safe. You're totally fine. And do what you can when you can. And then the other part of that is when you're setting these goals and you're having these ambitions, I think it's really, really important to remember what season of life you're actually in. So I talk a lot about boundaries and systems, building systems that work for you. I do a lot of this work on my one-on-one mentorships with photographers, as we'll actually look at what does your life look like? Do you have another job at the moment? How old are your children? What are their days like? Are you with them all the time like I am with mine? Do they go to daycare? Do they go to actual school? I don't know, is the time divvied up between parents? Like, we actually look at your life and building your business around your life rather than building your life around your business. Okay? That's really important because I think most of us can agree that our most important thing in our life would be our children. And I'm just generally assuming that the people listening to this podcast are moms and, or at least parents, probably moms, probably moms who are photographers or at least interested in motherhood photography. And that's our most important thing. Like, that's the top priority, right? Is my children, my family. And then it's my business. I love my business. My business is another child to me. It is a huge part of my life, and I'm thankful for it. I'm so thankful for it, grateful for it every single day that this is what I get to do to contribute to my family and just even for myself, right? And I get to do really meaningful work for other mothers. I get to support other moms. I mean, I could go on and on about how much I love and how passionate I am about being a motherhood photographer. And that being said, I think I've mentioned I have ADHD, which is part of why these probably seem so scattered sometimes. Um, but it's important that that comes first in my life. And so I have to look at what are their schedules. I just had to change it. I am at a point in my business now where I've been able to hire on some more personalized childcare, and so now I have childcare 2 days a week. This is really big for me. It took me a long time to get there. Part of that is the financial investment, and the other part of it is that it has been incredibly important to me that I am with my children. Like, I almost cried this morning dropping my daughter off at summer camp for the first time. And I just want to be with them. So along the way, I've gotten advice that's like, if you're going to scale, you need more support. You need more childcare. And while I do believe that to be true, I've also done everything in my power to find what works for me personally, because a big reason why I started my own business and things like that is, like, I've always wanted to be with my children as much as possible. It's definitely not good for any of us to be with each other all the time, and it's important to me to be with them while I have this time, because as they grow, my daughter's 5.5. It's just so real and so apparent how quickly the time goes by. And I'm very aware that soon she's going to be a teenager. Like, before I know it, they're going to be teenagers. They're going to have their own lives. They're going to leave the house. And, like, most of my life and most of our time together is not going to be under the same roof. It's not going to be cuddling with me and spending time with me and all the things, right, that you know. And so it's important to me during this phase of my business to still spend time with my kids, like literally as much as possible. And I've questioned, is it possible to achieve the same level of success that I would like in my business during the season of my life in motherhood? Because pretty much everyone that I really am inspired by, that I admire, that I look at their life and I'm like, yes, like this is what I want. They're like 10 years ahead of me. Their kids are 10 years older than my kids, or a good solid five. Like, right? Like their kids are at least like 10 years old or older. And, oftentimes they're in their 40s. And so, anyways, real big circle around. My 5-year goal is I have this idea, I'm 35, that when I hit 40, listen, in 5 years from now, come back to this episode, I'll reference it. We'll see if I did it. I know I will. I have a vision that 40 and beyond, my 40s are going to be just the absolute best years yet. I'm going to be hot. I am going to be wealthy. I am going to be successful in all the ways, thriving relationships with my children, with my husband, with my friends, all the things. I just believe that I kind of have this 5-year plan. And then I'm excited to like enjoy life after that. And I say that while also saying I'm very much enjoying life where it's at now, right? So many people I think you hear of like when they go back to the best time of their life, it was actually when their kids were young and they miss their kids being little kids and babies. And so I'm very also well aware at the same time that this is a very, very special season of life. And I am very much trying to enjoy where I'm at now, even though it's also an incredibly challenging season. You are sleep deprived, your hormones are, I'm still breastfeeding. If you're watching this episode, you will see I have one of my favorite sweaters on that says Bon Appetit with two boobs drawn on it. And, you have to have fun along the way even though it's really hard. It's a lot of work. And so setting boundaries, setting systems, looking at when do I actually have time to work? What all needs to be done to achieve the goals that I'm working on? And another thing that I've been hearing a lot about is when you have these ambitions and you have these goals, but you're also told, like, oh, well, don't take it too seriously or just do what you can when you can. But what about like the hustle period? Okay. Like, do you have to hustle for a period of time to get the ball off the ground, right? To get things going? It's not just going to be like, oh, it will just all fall into place because you want it to fall into place and you journaled about it and you answered a couple emails. Like, there is a period of time where you do have to do more work. Okay. I do think that there's a period of time where you have to do more work. The book that we just read last month was Start With Yourself by Emma Greedy. Anyways, her theory is that you have to work really, really hard, right? You have to hustle, you have to keep working, like it has to be a priority. And she maybe doesn't spend as much time with her children or shares the workload, things like that a little bit more. And her, I don't know how to say this exactly, but like maybe I want to spend more time with my kids than she needs to spend with hers, or right, it's just a balance of like what do you need, and that's going to be different for every single one of us. So that's why I think it's really important to set your goals, revisit your goals, then reevaluate like, okay, well, where are you actually at in this season of life, in this season of motherhood? What time do you actually have? What do you need to accomplish? And then how can you fit it in to the time that you have, right? So that again, your business is revolving around your life. And the fun part about that, the super exciting part about starting, running, growing your own business is that you literally get to create it. You make it up. 100% you can make it up. What do you want to do? What type of photography do you want to work with? What type of sessions? What colors? What location? What time of day? what age of children, baby, like maybe you only want to do studio breastfeeding sessions. Completely off the board, maybe you only want to photograph dogs in the mountains. We know people who do that, right? And they are successful. They have thriving, profitable, successful businesses being extremely niche down. What hours do you want to have your sessions? What days do you want to have your sessions? What do you want to charge for that, right? So that you can actually make a living. And there is so much that goes into figuring out all of those details. But above all, you need to figure out what works for you. And then there are people out there, that will find it right now completely unrelated in a certain way. My daughter is very interested in basketball, and all the sports are all evenings and weekends. That is not ideal for our family. Okay, we like to go to bed at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. is bedtime around here. And so no, I don't want to go take her to a sports game at 5:30 that's over at 6:30 and then hit taco time on the way home and then rush them to bed. Like absolutely not. That's not what we want. And I posted on a homeschool group and I'm asking like what are you all doing for sports cuz you're homeschooling, right? So you are not limited to evenings and weekends. And everyone is saying that they're just signing up on evenings and weekends at the YMCA and things like that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, there's no way I'm the only family that wants to do sports in the mid morning on a Monday or a Friday, right? And so maybe I'm going to have to create that. like I need one more thing to do. But maybe I will because I'm sure that I'm not the only one. And so anyways, it's just the goal is my daughter wants to play basketball. Now, my creative endeavor is having fun figuring out how to make that happen for her and how to make that work for our family without sacrificing quality dinners, without sacrificing the bedtime that we need because the kids wake up at the crack of dawn. Okay, making sure not sacrificing me being at the games. I currently have sessions on Saturday mornings and I would have to miss that, right? But it's all about being flexible in achieving your goal. We've incorporated friend dinners once a month. We've incorporated family dinners once a month. And these are all things that are happening on weekends that are impacting my availability and my schedule. We like to go camping. We like to travel. Anyways, all of this is to say that I'm designing my business around my life. What is my ultimate goal? My ultimate goal is to spend as much quality time with my family as possible, doing things that we love, going on new adventures, trying new things, activities, things like that. And being able to support that lifestyle by doing something I am incredibly passionate about, which is my motherhood photography, which is helping educate and support other photographers, especially mothers who are also trying to have profitable businesses that do not require them sacrificing their values or their motherhood, right? And then doing all of that while enjoying the journey and enjoying the process. So, once again, it's just a reminder that if you are highly ambitious, which if you're a mother starting and growing and running your own business, I'm going to go ahead and said that you say that you're extremely ambitious because it's a lot. It's a big goal. It's a lot of work, and I 100% that you believe that you can do it. I just don't want you to burn out. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I don't want you to feel exhausted. I don't want you to quit or give up on your dream or your goals because you feel like it's too difficult for you to accomplish or too stressful, right? It's not maintainable if it's not fun, if you're not enjoying the journey, if you're not reminding yourself that it's going to be okay and it's going to work out and you can have fun along the way, be creative, enjoy the process. Again, it's really not that serious. So don't let the stress that you are putting on yourself to achieve your goals and to achieve them in a on a timeline, right? Because we have okay, I want to do this. So another example here is Francesca Amber. I swear I'm probably going to mention her like in every single episode. But she did her podcast on YouTube for like 10 years before she switched over to podcasting or whatnot. And it finally took off. And there's so many other examples where you work on your business for so long before it really pays off. And you have to love what you're doing, and you have to not put that stress on yourself, right? Because you've set a timeline. I need it to happen this year or I'm going to give up. And then you stress yourself out that entire year, working way hard, sacrificing your values, sacrificing your time with your family, your friends, yourself, whatever it is. You just wake up every single day rushing around and stressing yourself out. That's not what you want to do. That is the flip side of ambition that I feel like can be really, really easy to fall into. And you actively have to set boundaries and systems and just reminders for yourself to like pull yourself back out of it. Be excited about the feeling that you're going to feel when it comes to fruition, and allow yourself to feel that way every day along the way. So that is our episode for today. I don't ever want to keep you too long. My dream is that hopefully you're just listening to these on the way to and from your sessions, running errands, things like that. Very easy, folding laundry. But if you are enjoying these episodes, I would absolutely love it if you would. I think you can follow the episode. I think you can rate and review the episode. And always feel free to send me a message or comment. You can find me at Photography by Casey Louise. It's pretty long. Photography _ by Casey Louise on Instagram, or the alignedphotographercollective.com. Send me a message. Let me know what you want to talk about, what you want to hear about. And thanks so much for being here. See you next time, Aligned Photographers.